take pads and put like 5 or 10 in a bag.
Yeah.
And she was like, oh my God, we got some pads. And you know, as a female, we know how valuable that is. And she said, because they were in Morganton, not in Asheville, that no one had brought them anything.
Vice President Kamala Harris faced an unexpected conversation today when she was helping a local organization pack up supplies for hurricane survivors. And one of the volunteers ended up revealing the failure from FEMA. So what we're going to do is react to these stories coming out about FEMA's failure, her little shenanigans that she tried to pull, and how Joe Biden is not helping in this situation. So what we're going to start first is with Sleepy Joe. Watch.
What do the states in the storm zone need, Mr. President?
Okay.
What do the states in the storm zone, what do they need after what you saw today?
Oh, in the storm zone.
Yes, sir.
I'm wondering what storm they're talking about. They're getting everything they need. And they're very happy across the board. So we just got to see. And then have to go back to the continent and get some more money to the.
Okay, so if you guys didn't hear that clearly, number one, the reporter asked them, is the individuals in the storm zones, are they getting what they need? Storm zones meaning the places where the Hurricane Helene damaged, right? And Joe Biden clearly didn't know what he was talking about because Joe Biden doesn't know anything because he's not really here. His body is here, but he's not really here. And this doesn't help Kamala Harris' campaign whatsoever. This makes her look even worse. And then he said that they're getting everything that they need. Yeah, but when I play you the other clips in the video, you'll see that that's not true either. So obviously, what are we really expecting from Sleepy Joe, right? And that also includes what are we truly expecting from Kamala Harris? Oh, I know what we're expecting from her. More photo ops. Take a look at this.
And I think we all have to recognize and thank them for the nobility of their work and their calling, which is to leave their home, to leave their families who may need the kind of resources that they can provide, but they have taken an oath, they have taken on a job that says to them they must go and help those who are in need, many who may be strangers to them. So I came here to find out what's going on the ground, to find out what more we can do in terms of federal aid, such as what we announced today, and the federal support we're giving to Mecklenburg County in terms of disaster relief, the work that we are doing, which is $100 million to assist with the rebuilding of Interstate 40. And also, again, just to thank the folks on the ground for what they're doing every day. And again, I want to thank you, Governor, Administrator, General, everyone who is here, Colonel, for all you are doing on behalf of everyone in this region and our nation. You all are doing extraordinary work, and we are forever grateful to you all. So thank you. Thank you all.
Okay, so obviously there she is doing her photo op. You know, she's got to make sure she looks good for the camera. She's running a campaign right now, which is why you see her doing that. The person that really should be there is probably the president of the United States, you know, just saying. And we know this is a political game and she's got to look her best. The problem, though, is everything she was saying everybody already knows, and she didn't tell us anything we haven't heard already. And quite honestly, when I show you this clip later in the video, it'll start to make even, I guess, more sense why she's doing what she's doing. So the great thing about this entire FEMA story is there are individuals who have credibility and they go onto the news and they actually tell us what the truth really is. And one of those individuals is Congressman Corey Mills out of Florida. So he goes on to Fox News and he lays into the administration right now and FEMA's failure and really shares what he has been doing. And that's exactly what we should expect to hear from Kamala Harris, but we're not. It's just vague platitudes. But let's hear what he had to say.
Boots on the ground once again in another disaster, literally personally dropping supplies off by helicopter to storm damaged areas. What can you tell us in terms of what you've witnessed?
Well, I can tell you, Maria, that everyone is not okay. You still have hundreds who are on the missing persons list. We have dropped about 20,000 plus pounds of supplies, everything from generators to non-perishables, water, diapers, wipes. We've been doing med drops for insulin and oxygen. We've been doing medevacs where we've gotten out multiple people who've been trapped. We had a gentleman the other day, we had to evac from Bailey over to Johnson City who was having cardiac arrest issues. So I can tell you that President Biden's assessment of things is couldn't be farther from the truth. And I want to also point out, when Biden came in, he said he wasn't going to hinder operations going on. He put a 30-mile TFR around the actual disaster areas, which shut down all aviation assets for the entire 4 hours. That means critical times at that 96-hour point. If he wants to show up a week later, that's on him. But you're shutting down critical times at that 96-hour point when we're starting to move and transition from what would have been a rescue into body recovery. And so I found it to be not only just inept, but I thought it to be very, very inconsiderate on what he was doing to try and prevent operations from continuing on, as some of the other federal government now has arrived yesterday is trying to do as well.
So I think at this point we know what's going on here, okay? Joe Biden has utterly failed as the president. Kamala Harris has utterly failed as the vice president. What we've noticed from them is the same old song and dance. They say that everything's going according to plan, that they've given everything that they need. And when you hear what Corey Mills is saying, you can't help but think, well, okay, but where's FEMA? Why is FEMA not doing those operations? Why are they not dropping 20,000 pounds? And if they are, why are we not hearing from FEMA what they've done up to this point, right? So if they don't want conspiracy theories to emerge, then they need to be transparent with what they're doing. I don't understand why someone's not going online right now, all news channels, and saying, hey, on behalf of FEMA, here are the numbers. Here's what we've done. Nobody's doing that. Now, if you're enjoying this video, do me a favor, like, share, and subscribe to the channel. If you want to support us further, go to the link in the description, grab yourself a t-shirt or buy us a cup of coffee. Now, the one person who is, I guess, doing something is the vice president, where she decided to volunteer her time at a local organization who is dropping supplies off to these hurricane survivors. And this truly brings us to the point of the video where once again we see her embarrass herself. She looks like a clown, honestly. And she wasn't banking on the fact that one of the volunteers was going to confront her on the failures of FEMA. Take a look at this first interaction, and then we'll get into what the volunteer said.
Thank you all of you for what you're doing.
Oh, I just you don't work here, yeah.
Okay. I will slow down. That right there.
Where's your crisis jacket on that you had the other day? Where's that at? You know, like, so this is not believable. This is not going to sway any votes, right? And so it's just, it just is disingenuous at best.
What's that been like?
Well, honestly, when we went up the first day, I was familiar because I used to live in Asheville. And we made the first stop in Morganton, and MJ and I drove up, and I was like, where's they drop off? I need to back up where they drop off their supplies. Me thinking that they're gonna have all these supplies, and she come out, one of our community members come out, and she was like, oh my goodness, I'm so glad y'all here. And come to find out we were the only one.
Really?
We were the only one, and they had 3 tents.
So they didn't even have a center of where to do it, because you were the only one.
We were the only one. They had 3 tents set up outside, and I guess maybe they had about 20 cases of water, and that was it. And what really got me was the 16-year-old daughter came up and seen we take pads and put like 5 or 10 in a bag.
Yeah.
And she was like, oh my God, we got some pads. And it's a female. We know how valuable that is. And she said, because they were in Morganton, not in Asheville, that no one had brought them anything.
No one had brought them anything. There was only 3 tents. There was not a place for supplies to be received or set up for people to come and get. What does FEMA stand for again? Because this is a huge scandal. Why are there private organizations faster, quicker, better prepared, better supplied than the federal government? The federal government knew this was coming. This is not a secret. They knew this hurricane was going to hit. So you would think at a minimum, FEMA would have been on the ground, ready to go, ready to hand out supplies. And remember, the failure stops with Joe Biden, of course. But when you're Kamala Harris and you're going around doing these photo ops, you're going to share the blame of that too. So she's taking a huge risk by doing this, because if things get worse, people are going to see clips like this and they're going to say, oh yeah, she's not really for the people. She was just trying to get elected. Okay, so now that you've seen the just fakeness from Kamala Harris and what she's been up to, let's dive a little deeper and show you guys a clip from Glen Beck and Congressman Mills when they actually went to a FEMA location and started asking simple questions.
Hi.
Ma'am, how are you?
This is Patricia.
Hi, Patricia. I'm Glenn. This is Congressman
Mills.
Hello.
How are you, ma'am?
Good.
So we're wondering, we just asked, when do you guys go door to door? He was telling that,
After we get the general stuff done, we got to hit the mass people first, wherever the mass people are. So the mass people are here. Let's get them into the system as quickly as possible. Once we get the masses done, then we start going door to door.
okay, how do people know you're here?
We just got here.
Oh, you just got here?
We were here yesterday,
Yeah,
and today's our first day
Okay.
with this unit.
yeah.
And then tomorrow we're going to move the unit up by the car wash.
Oh, So-
Yesterday
so-
we couldn't do anything besides give them the information
Yeah.
because we didn't have any Wi-Fi.
right.
I will say, and this is just someone who's, we got lucky enough, Glenn actually spotted it before I did, but I think even having this vehicle more towards the front of the road where people even know that it exists, for visibility, with people coming by, might actually
Yeah, we were in
help quite
a
bit.
we were in a van with 8 people. I was the only one that saw it.
Exactly right.
Yeah,
Yeah.
no, that's what we're going to do. That's
Good.
what we got to do. We just needed a temporary spot to turn around and get things up and running.
Yeah,
And the guy that's running this facility here, I spoke with the manager here. He said this would be a good spot. The guy that's running the parking lot, who's a different guy, I didn't know that. He said the car wash would be better, and I was like, boy, that's really smart.
Yeah.
Okay, so
Good.
that's where we're going to be set up tomorrow,
Good.
and we should be doing registrations. We'll be here between 9 and 10. We're all coming in from Charlotte. He'll be here a little bit earlier, and then we'll start tearing down about 5 o'clock so that we can get out of here.
Great.
Because we don't necessarily go door to door. It's not my cadre, anyways.
Right.
There's 23 different cadres.
Okay, so that's just a short clip. There's a bigger clip. I'll actually link to this video. You guys can watch the full. It's like 8 minutes long. And you could just see how like lackadaisical they are. Why do they need to be parked right there to set up? It should be a unit where they could set up anywhere immediately. They should have Wi-Fi immediately. Why is there not a Starlink on that vehicle? See, these are the things that makes the government incompetent, which is crazy. Now, if we were in the military and this was a military vehicle, that wouldn't be a problem. That's the interesting part about this, is that if this was a military response unit, they would have Wi-Fi. They would have satellite at a minimum. They would be able to communicate. But for some reason, FEMA is an organization of the government, but doesn't have these things immediately. I don't understand why that is. Okay, so you guys have seen the update to this entire scandal, is what I call it. You guys got to see the photo op from Kamala Harris, which again is just not really going to help her. I know she's trying to do whatever she can to save her campaign when it comes to this Hurricane Helene response that has been disastrous. We also got to see Sleepy Joe, and he doesn't do her any favors whatsoever. And we want to send a shout out to Corey Mills, the congressman, Glen Beck, and a lot of other unsung heroes, so to speak, that are really doing the real work on the ground, but are probably not going to get any credit. So credit to them, whoever they may be. Remember, you can donate money to GoFundMe that was set up by former President Trump. I'll also link that in the description. And lastly, guys, this is a great example of what you get when you keep voting for Democrats, okay? And I say that because right now the Democrats are not truly focused on people. They're focused on trying to defeat Donald Trump, right? And all these big issues that's been happening with our country over the past few years are examples of just that. They are more focused on defeating Trump. They're more focused on prosecuting Trump. They're more focused on everything else but doing their job. And so I hope that Kamala Harris gets a rude awakening on November 5th, and the Democrats pay the ultimate price, which is to people to go to the polls and tell them, screw you guys. You guys aren't doing your job. You're fired. So that's my opinion. What about you? What do you guys think about this story? What do you think about her getting confronted from that volunteer who exposed FEMA's failures? Let me know what your thoughts are and more in the comment section below. Thank you for checking out the video today. Stay grateful, stay focused, and stay true. Peace.